Hi there, welcome to Trailer Reactions. The Scream 7 trailer just came out about my time 3 hours ago. We're going to do a reaction, let's watch it, let's see what happens. I'm just going to jump right into it. Now, this is the one, they're abandoning the main sisters from the last two films. There was a controversy with, I think there was like a Free Palestine controversy with one of the actresses. I can't remember their names. One of them was Jenna Ortega, but she kind of quit in solidarity with the sister, saying that she had to prioritize Wednesday, when in reality, they probably would have halted the other production. It's just, she wants to stand by her friend. I get it. Fair enough. So let's see what happens when you go back to Sydney. In 3, 2, 1, go.
This is it.
Can't believe we're staying at the Psycho Killer B&B.
It's a motion detector.
That one ain't. Oof. Okay.
Hello?
Hello, Sydney.
This isn't fun.
Nice little town you found. You and your pretty daughter. Reminds me of where we grew up.
Wow, you sure know a lot about me for another asshole hiding behind the voice changer.
I'm not hiding, Sydney. I'm not hiding. Not this time.
Oh, damn.
Down to the end. Down to the end. I want to be a fighter, like you. If you hurt her, until you're here to see it. Let's unmask this fucker.
Oh, I have a few of the people from the last one.
For just being near you.
Where is my daughter? You gonna listen to me? Where is my daughter? Find another way. We're gonna do this together. You're gonna have to shoot him through the wall. To the right of the door. Shoot him now. Do it now. To the right of the door. Shoot him now. Do it now. You have to make sure you shoot him in the head.
I'm gonna burn it all down.
I don't know, man. Little split on it. I took my nephews to go watch the last one in theaters and my niece. A little split on this. Not gonna lie. I kind of wanted to see the story resolve with the sisters. You know, I was kind of hoping that they were gonna go to London for Scream 7, where they were gonna find out that their mother was involved. There are all these theories that were going on as far as like the mother being involved with Billy when she was younger and whatnot, and like, oh, she's part of a cult or whatnot. Like, there were so many great ideas. It's unfortunate what happened. The Scream 7 trailer is fine. It's fine. Like, I'm not super excited for it. It looks like another Scream film. I'm sure it'll be good, right? Because it has the same directors. It's just, I don't know. It feels like there's a spark missing there. Again, it's not gonna be terrible. Meh. That's all I got to say. What do you think of the Scream 7 trailer? What do you think of the Scream 7 film that's gonna come out? Let us know down below. We'd really appreciate it. Catch y'all next time. See everybody. All right. Up next, Stranger Things. Hi there, welcome to the reactions. And today we have the long-awaited Stranger Things Season 5 trailer, this will probably be the only one. It's going to end up being, I want to say, like, 10 episodes, each one about 2 hours. Basically, like 10 films, are going to be coming out. So we'll see how this is going to go. Yeah, man, it's a lot of content to intake. I'm not explaining why it took so long. Like, they made 10 films over the course of, 3-4 years? I guess it kind of makes sense, but also, damn, like, it took 3 years. Anyway, that said, let's dive into Stranger Things Season 5. In 3, 2, 1, go. upside down. A little meta.
We're really starting to lose it. Being stuck in here,
Oh, they're quarantined.
no end in sight. Maybe tonight is our break. We find Vecna. We end this once and for all. Together.
This thing got beat up.
This isn't like one of your campaigns. You don't get to write the ending. Not this time.
God, please be less useless than you were in season 4.
And it's not gonna stop until we're drained of every last ounce of suffering.
We stay true to ourselves. Stay true to our friends. No matter the cost.
One last time.
Huh. I mean, it feels epic. Because, like, I mean, they've taken the time to set all the right pieces in all the right places, right? Like, over the course of 4 previous seasons, setting up 11, setting up Hawkins as General to be this massive battleground, almost. Though, season 4 ended with them evacuating Hawkins, so I'm assuming, I guess they were being quarantined in, which I guess makes sense. Them taking the fight to Vecna. So I do know that they're fast forwarding, I think, 18 months in the show's time, which, I mean, I guess that can work because the kids are way too old to be in high school anymore. Dustin got beat up, apparently. No, there's not really any plot information other than stop Vecna. How they're going to do it, we don't know. But that's kind of the thing with these shows, is like, we don't really know the rules until they tell us the rules. So we'll just have to see. I don't know how they're going to kill Vecna. I know they will. Prediction here, there's going to be a dragon. At some fucking point, they're going to fight a dragon. Calling it now. I think they hearkened to that in either season 1 or season 4, but dragon. No, I don't know what to expect. But obviously, of course, leave it to the kids to, fight back against the government, which is something that's necessary nowadays. Anyway, that said, I hope it's good. I want it to be good, and no one wants a show to be bad. And as the climactic finale of this massive saga, hope it's good. That's it. What did you think of the trailer? Let us know down below, and yeah, catch you all next time. We'll see everybody. All right, 10 pages. Right, so fairly recently, there's been some worry about AEW's future. So let's dive in. In the last 10 months, AEW has done their first show in Australia, had 3 pay-per-view gates surpass $1 million in All In, Forbidden Door, and All Out. They had their largest North American gate ever at All In, and very recently they had the highest attendance of any wrestling show at the O2 Arena. In addition, the company morale is set to be high, along with the introduction of some brand new women's tag belts. AEW is on fire right now, and let me check in with our live correspondents. Are the live shows fun? Yeah, hope we had fun. I was just there. Now, all this in a way to say that AEW is on a roll. WBD isn't. Now, please indulge me for a moment while I talk about business and include the James business. Love you, James. Now, years ago, Discovery bought Warner Brothers. Thank you, James. Love you forever. Now, years ago, Discovery bought Warner Brothers in a much larger company. Years ago, Discovery bought Warner Brothers, a much larger company, with the hopes that their IPs would foster overall growth. In addition, they revamped the DC studios with James Gunn and Peter Safran, along with a renewed push in prestige TV. It's all going in the right direction, but the returns are not enough. So, WBD is looking for a buyer. They're looking to divide the assets into two major companies, right? One having all the great new stuff like streaming, the other having all the old TV stuff that makes less money. So, the worry for fans is that they're not sure where AEW is going to be included because they kind of straddle the line of both. In terms of TV, their consistent ratings draw on TBS and TNT, but they do also do really good numbers on HBO Max, and they have renewed revenue in the pay-per-view model with Max, which appears to be yielding some positive results. All this is to say AEW has always been network-friendly to WBD, willing to shift Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision as needed. Again, all this just to say, in my opinion, I believe AEW will be fine. See, contrary to popular belief, it wasn't WWE that killed WCW. It was actually an AT&T executive that killed the show during the merger way back in the early 2000s with AT&T. There's a lot of W's here. WCW was not run financially responsibly by its manager, or Eric Bischoff, I guess you could say. It was a big money loser, right? Ted just wanted to wage war with Vince. He didn't care that he was losing money constantly. But ratings were in the toilet. It was making no money. And at the time, wrestling was seen as like second tier B-level entertainment, which the network did not want to be involved with. Fast forward to today, where ironically WWE's image as a mainstream wrestling product might actually help AEW's case. See, WWE has made wrestling mainstream overall. Look at the Netflix deal. Now to start, AEW has always placed WBD, well, then WB, they've always been at the forefront trying to have brand synergy, always promoting their works for their films, their shows, their games, DC Comics most recently, as well as the DC event KO. Now, whether fans like to admit it or not, and you all can argue in the comments, by all means, you guys have done that in the other videos, they are a consistent ratings draw, typically being in the top 5, which that's what matters. They are also a relatively cheap compared to other shows that are consistently... They are a consistent ratings draw regardless of whatever people are going to argue with in the comments. You've done in the other videos, I'm not going to be surprised. But regardless of that, also compared to other shows, they are consistent ratings draws, and they consistently put up 3 to 4 hours of content every single week in the sports category. On streaming, they consistently draw about 500,000 people or more. Their presence is ever growing. But that said, let's go down the rabbit hole. Let's say, come 2027, WBD wants to drop AEW and not renew them for their 5th year that they have in their contract, or renew them for a long-term TV rights deal. Well then, I'll be honest, I don't think they'll have any trouble finding a new home. See, unlike TNA, who always felt, because of Dixie Carter, always felt like WWE light, right? AEW is its own brand with its own wrestlers and its own expectations for its products and shows. They're an alternative, not a knockoff. It's like Coke versus Pepsi, with TNA being like the great value brand of the bunch. Anyways, even in the worst case scenario, I see AEW being... even in the worst case scenario with AEW being dropped, I see them having other possible suitors, whether it's Peacock or Paramount. Other options include Apple TV or Amazon, which they were set to have talks with until HBO Max snatched them up. You know, they had an exclusivity window, but then they'd be open to all buyers. HBO stepped in and offered a very good amount of money for them. I think AEW is going to be fine regardless, even if they have to change channels, which I hope they don't. But if they do, they'll be fine. AEW has proven AEW has a proven audience with plenty of backlog of content for streamers, and I have no doubt they'll find another streamer if necessary. So I think we can relax. All Elite Wrestling is not going anywhere. Oh God, wait! Can you imagine the Apple TV Championship instead of the TNT title? I don't want to see that. Anyway. Black Phone 2, aka The Dream Child. So, when the Black Phone first released back in 2022, it was a welcome surprise hit in horror with a great premise of a kid being able to talk to spirits that help him survive this maniac called the Grabber. It was a hit at the time, and while the sequel was greenlit, it would take 3 years for it to come out, and that might be its biggest strength. A good story takes time to develop, and if they had fast-tracked it, there's no way it would have been this good. But with ideas to play with, Scott Dickerson and C. Robert Cargill, make sure I'm saying that name properly, give us a film worth watching. Now, to begin. This film is all about the consequences of its predecessor. While the original film is awesome with such a satisfying story arc for Finn as he defeats the Grabber, The Black Phone 2 is definitely more about Gwen coming to terms with her powers and her abilities and confronting them, along with the long-standing issues that Finn has with PTSD and what he's dealing with. There are also a lot of loops in this film that get closed from the original that would only have come from a great writing team. I won't give spoilers as of yet, but like I said, the acting is top-notch, with Mason and Madeline giving... I won't give spoilers yet, but I will say the acting is top-notch, with Mason and Madeline giving such a great performance for the parts that made them arguably household names. Ethan Hawke returns as the Grabber, and it is a job well done. I want to say, he comes back as, I want to say a vengeful spirit, but he's more like a vengeful demon who's out to hurt Finn in the worst way possible by targeting Gwen, who also has powers that they both inherited from their mother. Now, while the scares are great, it's more suspenseful. Also, it really does get your heart racing a lot of the time with the easy to follow on lore and understanding like what's going on. Like, Gwen can see the Grabber, but we know the people who are alive can't see the Grabber. They play with that a lot, and I like it. The background of the mountains is also really beautiful. It's a great backdrop for this horror thriller, and as we all know, snow and blood mix very well. There are also themes with the Grabber telling Finn that he isn't... There's also a theme with the Grabber telling Finn that hell isn't ablaze, it's cold, like ice, but it burns all the same. The technique of using the 8mm film as a way to distinguish between the dream world and the real world is also creative and aesthetically pleasing. I can't sing the praises of this film enough, and for me at least, it's going to be an 8 out of 10. Now, that said, we're going to jump into the spoiler room brawl in 3, 2, 1. Now, let me start by mentioning the bridge. So, when I mentioned the themes of bridging, there's a lot of talk. There's a lot to talk about. Now, let's start with the fact that the film opens with Finn and Gwen's mother in 1957 at the lake where the majority of this film takes place, calling Gwen to bring her here, but she doesn't know it yet. It's a full circle moment. It's almost like it was preordained that Finn and Gwen would end up in the Grabber sights and they would end up defeating him. We also see that Finn isn't afraid to fight, but he's also maybe a little too heavy on the weed. Now look, it's not an anti-drug PSA, not by any stretch of the imagination, but there's a big difference between indulging in something to relax versus numbing yourself from the pain because you don't want to confront what happened to you. The father is in AA and is getting better, which is actually a really nice change of pace. In most films, they would double down with the alcoholism. Gwen is haunted by dreams that push her to go to the camp to find out what happened to the original victims of the grabber, with Finn and her boyfriend Emilio. Now, I won't be able to break down the entire plot because it would take too long and there's a lot of details, but I will touch on some of the big things. Firstly, the grabber was a counselor at this lake camp thing, where those 3 boys first went missing. That's what caused the camp to close down. He went by Wild Bill Hickok. We still don't know the official name of the grabber. Also, in order for those boys, they need to find their bodies. The grabber is appearing to Gwen in her dreams, in like the astral plane or spirit world vision or like the dream world. I'm not sure what to call this, but he is after her to get to Finn. But Gwen slowly learns to use her powers and fight back. It's very in the vein of like Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street, but honestly, I find these 2 films better than any Nightmare on Elm Street film, if I'm being honest. And then in a really satisfying final act, we have the father, Finn, and Gwen all breaking down, with Gwen calling out Finn's dependence on weed to feel numb because he doesn't want to confront his trauma, while the father, he's a bit of a control freak. He can't come to terms with the fact that his wife passed away via self-deletion, but Gwen tells him it wasn't his fault, it was the grabber. And she even provides proof, showing, how could I know this, Dad, unless I saw it? Like, Mom didn't off herself. It was him. Father of someone being forced to confront the fact that it's real. The grabber also did it because she was able to figure out his first victim, or figure out who he was. There are no pieces. So, with the pieces on the board, our third act is a race against time to try and find the bodies of the boys in the lake, while the grabber is trying to kill everyone at night. He's also sure as hell bent on getting revenge on Finn and Gwen because, man, it gets bloody in a hurry. He also beats the hell out of Finn while he can. However, Gwen, with the help of the 3 boys, are able to get the grabber under control and fight back. And it's wonderful watching his victims be the ones to win and put him down. The grabber is ultimately beaten by the cold... The grabber is ultimately beaten to a cold and bloody pulp before he's sealed in ice forever? I'm not quite sure. If they do a part 3, I'm going to imagine it's probably going to be like a possession film. It could also be that they bring in Mia Hawke as like the next grabber. That could work. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, overall for me, an outstanding movie, an outstanding sequel. Everything that sequel should be in a reckoning to what happened in the original. Again, I recommend it for everyone. What did you think of the Black Phone Part 2? Let us know down below, and we'll catch y'all next time. We'll see everybody. Snap. Okay. Okay, so we're in the 4th week of the government shutdown, with Speaker Mike Johnson refusing to call the House into session for multiple reasons. There's the fact that one Miss Adetta? Adetta. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing her first name. An Arizona Democrat who was democratically elected to Congress has yet to be sworn in, possibly due to the fact that she would be the 218th vote for the release of the Epstein files. Never forget. Now, I already covered as to why the shutdown is happening. So in regards for extending the ACC tax breaks and whatnot, the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back, you can go watch that other video. But it only took 10 months for Trump to burn all of his political capital. And frankly, I'm shocked it took this long, but I digress. What I want to talk about is SNAP. Essentially, food assistance for people that need it. Mind you, a lot of people do. A recent number came out, as many as 40 million people use SNAP on some level to help subsidize their food and grocery bills. Which, when I say subsidize, I don't mean that as a dig. I'm saying that they need the help because people in this country are not paid enough. You know, we have Jeff Bezos, who's worth $400 million. The Walton family is worth $400 million. And yet, there's a lot of Walmart workers that are on SNAP. There's a lot of Amazon workers on SNAP or about to be unemployed because they're about to fire, I want to say, 60,000 people, which, Bezos, if you're watching this, that's for you. I know he's not going to, but still. Bear in mind, grocery prices are also getting more and more expensive, thanks to, in part, this dumbass. Now, back to topic. Sorry. A lot of people do depend on SNAP, including children, the elderly, and the differently abled, people who are not necessarily able to work. And as of November 1st, they're about to be cut off. And see, here's the problem. Democrats already put up a bill that would have funded SNAP, but it was already shot down. Hell, Dems also put up a bill that would have paid for the workers, but that was also shot down. We've also gone to a point where Republican members of Congress and the Senate are willing to let people actually go without food to try and force Dems to allow the budget bill vote to pass. This is just like movie villain levels of evil at this point, or maybe even worse. In response, several states are actually suing Trump, and rightfully so. There's actually $5 billion in contingency fund that could be used to fund SNAP in the event of an emergency, something like this, but Trump is refusing to use it, saying, I can't touch that, even though more Republican states use SNAP than anyone else. Now, it's hard to look at this from a fuck around and find out situation. Normally that's what I do with like the farmers, for example, but this involves vulnerable people, specifically kids, the elderly, and the differently abled, literally starving. While there has been a widespread movement online to help those in need, from giving to food pantries, they're already stretched thin due to the government shutdown and federal workers being affected as well. Short-term effects will be devastating to families, especially during the month of Thanksgiving, Turkey month. But I should also say, look at this from an even wider perspective, because some people lack empathy. Contrary to what most people believe, most people that have SNAP do work. Unless you're physically unable to, you do. Also, to qualify for SNAP, you have to have less than $3,000 in liquid assets. Think about that. How poor do you have to be to have less than $3,000 in liquid assets? Additionally, SNAP is not a drain on the economy. It's been proven. SNAP actually adds to the economy. For every dollar spent on SNAP, $1.80 goes back into the economy, which is a good thing. It's a smart long-term investment tool, but it's being used as a weapon. It's a bargaining tool at best and a tool at population control at worst. Stephen Miller has gone on record saying that we need to cull the population. I mean, that means to selectively slaughter. Now, obviously, they wouldn't do that, right? So instead, the current administration is basically saying either do the things that we want or else. And I'm really fucking curious to see about how this is going to affect things going forward, because we've already had multiple Republicans break from Trump over the tariffs, stopping tariffs on Brazil and Canada. Multiple Republicans are already in states are working towards stopping the redistricting push from Trump, because they believe it's going to backfire bigly, which, yeah, it probably will. Again, I believe there's been 40 elections this year so far, not including the November election, that's different. But of the special elections that have taken place, Democrats have a clean sweep of 40. So let's see what's going to happen on November 4th. People are going to vote like they're hungry, because they are. Now, I think, and God, I hope I'm right, we're over the hill in what his administration can do as the infighting is getting worse in the Republican Party. Hell, even MTJ, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who I don't like, is fighting Mike Johnson, and that is fucking saying something.